Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneurial Blueprint Podcast. I am Dr. Jake Latimer, and on today's podcast, I'm thrilled to welcome Paige Donnell. Paige, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so if you've joined us before, you realize that this is a series where we're going to dive deep into the successes and pitfalls of local entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs provide insight into what's worked, what hasn't worked along the way. Please note that none of these interviewees that we bring on the show are ever paid. Is that a fair assumption there, Paige?
It's fair.
Okay, thank you.
Very fair.
And please realize also that we're doing this in good faith. It's for educational purposes. And so we hope that you guys garner some little slivers here along the way and enjoy it as much as we enjoy producing the content for you. Paige, before we dive too deep into business, tell us about the young Paige, where you grew up, your family life, and what early influences you went through that shaped your life and who you are today.
All right. So I grew up on Lake Conroe, which is Montgomery, Texas. I don't know if your viewers are familiar, but it's about 45 minutes north of here. I grew up playing golf, for those that don't know, which is no one. Because it's a lake, all of the kids either play tennis or golf because it's a resort area. So Montgomery High School has the longest running record of state championships for girls golf in the state. So,
Wow.
So anyways, I was a part of that. I did not hold the appreciation for golf then that I obviously do now. And
Okay.
just like the mental side of things and the game that obviously plays so much with business. Other than that, I have an older brother. And then my dad owned a real estate office. He started in residential and built up the firm. And then I think by the time I was like 10 or 12, he pretty much was selling or working with just larger mortgage companies with foreclosures. Really don't know what he did beyond that. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom and drove us around to all of our activities. So that's kind of where it was. I went to college in San Marcos at what was Southwest Texas.
Yeah.
And of course, so I met my husband there. All of us want to stay there because it's gorgeous.
Is it still the Bobcats? Today was the Bobcats back then?
It's still the Bobcats.
Okay.
But when you're graduating, everyone wants to stay in like the Austin,
Of course.
San Marcos Hill Country area. No one gets jobs out there. There's no jobs, or maybe there were a few tech jobs. So anyways, we all moved to Houston, and that's where I've been since.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So one of the things we always kind of talk about, and I know this is important to you as well, was faith a part of your life growing up? What was your relationship with God, and how did that evolve over the years?
So the short answer is yes. Grew up in church. Faith has always been a part of everything. It really wanted to reveal itself whenever I quit my corporate job and just decided to figure out owning my own business.
Yeah.
I kind of kept having this nudge. And then I'm the second child, so I'm impulsive. So I came home one day and was like, hey, I quit my job. And my husband was like, oh, we'll make a plan. And I was like, no, there's no plan. I did it. Like, that's the plan. It's over. Let's give it 6 months. So I think it was faith that called me to it, but then relying on a lot of faith the first year or 6 months, because the first year is hard.
Oh.
It's working real hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest you'll probably ever work for the least amount of money, right? Before
It's below minimum wage. A lot of people don't realize it, right?
Yeah, it's investing in yourself and also having someone that's willing to take the heat or, the brunt of stuff.
Yeah.
So faith carried me through and us through all of that as well.
You've got to have faith when you're going through that because, when you're going through, you have your highs, you have your lows, and you have a lot of lows along that time frame. You really do.
A lot of questioning your purpose and am I qualified? Am I good enough? Not just in the business world, but also, at that point I had young kids, but it's also like, am I letting people down? Because I just went off and did what I wanted to do without consideration
and
for his reaction.
And you can be outstanding in your craft. You really can. But if you don't remove that obscurity and people don't know who you are, you have a difficult time driving business to yourself.
Yes.
And you might be the most qualified in your industry, but if no one knows who you are, good luck paying your bills. It can get tough. You start to question things then.
Having the support, having a spouse someone that believed in me, all that is essential. There, even now, but especially then, there were so many young single females, working moms that would come up and be like, oh my gosh, I want to do what you do. And the answer is you can. You can probably do it a lot better than me, but you have to be willing to make a lot of sacrifice.
Major sacrifices.
And you have to be able, like, if you don't have someone to kind of fall back on, you know, do you have a means to support yourself when you may not get a check for 6 months to 12 months?
Yeah,
you know?
I love that you say that, because there's so many things that I tell so many people when you're going into entrepreneurship, especially. And I believe it's just overall in life, you're the 5 people you hang out with the most.
Yeah.
And one of those 5 people is typically your significant other, you know,
Yes.
especially your significant other, because you're so involved with them. So I see this so many times that if you choose the wrong significant other,
Yeah.
you know, as you're flying or you're trying to soar, either that person's either going to bring you down, right? Because it's just massive
Yeah.
weight if you don't have the right partner,
Yeah.
or you're going to break apart.
So I started my business, I think in 2012, or like this is when all of it happened. One of the first eye openers, besides the fact that I'm working really hard for no money, is he comes home from work. So at the time he did commercial construction. And I'm ready to pounce and talk about my day, because he's not just my husband or my spouse. He's also my desk mate and my colleague. So he'd walk in the door and I'm like, oh my gosh, this happened, you know, or I'm like, how do I work through this problem? Almost like your, what do we call it? Like the water cooler talk.
Yeah.
So he wants to decompress. And I'm like, oh, I've been waiting 10 hours. I got to talk about this problem. We need to solve it. So there's like this whole other side of like, not just being a supportive partner, but you're in this with me as well. So anyways.
No. It's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true. And like I say, you're going to question yourself a lot when you go through that. So you've got to make sure the people you surround yourself
Yes.
is very critical, right?
Yeah.
That they're a support system. And now, with that being said, you also have to be careful on taking advice from some of those people.
Yes.
Some people can provide great advice, right? And some people, not so much, even though they love you, they're just not equipped to give you good
Yes.
good information. And a lot of times what you see that is with parents oftentimes, right? You have these Debbie Downers that will say,
Yeah.
I don't think you should do that. I think that this is not the safe route, or this is not the safe bet. And for you, I know it was for me as well, is, and for most entrepreneurs, you like to control your own destiny
Yes.
more than anything. For me, it was not about the money. It was more about the freedom, you know?
Well, yeah, because a couple things. I'm money motivated. So I will outwork anybody.
Love it.
If I'm passionate about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I make very quick decisions, which can be a good thing. You know, now I have a lot more friends that are entrepreneurs as well. I have a very close friend and we're in the same kind of space, like marketing, creative. We both bring challenges to each other. We solve them completely differently and on different timelines, but we both come to the same conclusions 99% of the time. But to your point, it's like we all walk through this stuff as entrepreneurs differently. And the other thing I've kind of learned about myself, like I told you, I can be very decisive, yes or no. And I move forward.
It's critical in business.
It is. But then what I've learned is sometimes I need to like push away from the desk and give myself like 24 hours, because I can say no to something Thursday afternoon and I'll really kind of marinate on it. And by Friday morning, I'm like, you know what? They were right. Like they made the right call. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I'm okay admitting that most of the time, but I've learned that about myself. It's like sometimes I push back on things. And then after thinking through it a little more, I'm like, actually, that was the wrong call. I need to change my position. So
I like what you said there, because I think that what you said, and if you don't have this, you really need to take notice on this, is you have to be honest with yourself and be humble enough to know when you potentially made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. You can't be so narrow-minded and wanting to push your agenda, because we are human. We always do make mistakes. And I'm a big sports guy, so I use sports analogies like Tom Brady for an example,
Yeah.
right? One of the most successful quarterbacks, if not the greatest ever, right? But along the way, he threw a lot of interceptions along with those touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so you know that you're going to make mistakes. Michael Jordan missed a lot of shots over that time frame as well. It's okay. It's how you respond to that and how
Yeah.
you pivot off of that. But I think the thing that's also critical in what you said was you're very decisive with the decisions that you make. You don't sit there and you don't spew on it for an excessive amount of time, and you create paralysis from overanalysis. And I think a lot of people do that. They question themselves too much, and they create these fake roadblocks, right? Where they, wow, man, should I do this? Should I not do this? Should I do this? Should I not? And I always say, and sometimes I frustrate my wife because she's more analytical than I am, and I'll just make a decision. She's like, we didn't even talk about it. I said, there's nothing to talk about. I've already done it. And she's like, Jake, I wish we would have talked about this. I said, I already have 7 other projects that I'm moving forward on and working on. If I make one mistake, darling, what I'll do is I'll pivot, we'll adjust, and it's okay.
Okay, so did you listen to the Taylor Swift? It's not the Taylor Swift podcast. It's the Kelsey's podcast. No. Okay, it came out like last week, and it's Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast. I know who they are. Yeah. And she went on it. It like broke the internet. You need to go back and listen to it. You don't have to listen to the whole thing. But she said this quote. It will absolutely resonate with you. I'm not going to say it right. In our world, right, in an entrepreneur's world, time is money. It is. This is why we're decided, like, and she said something, the quote was like, if your time is a commodity, like, why are you, if people aren't giving you their energy or their best energy, like, why would you waste time on this? Clearly I'm fumbling the quote, but whatever it is awesome. It's what we teach our kids, but it's in business too. Like, if it's not bringing you energy, if you can't make a decision on it and move forward, like, why are we spending time on things that aren't just, we're moving forward. Like all that other stuff is just dragging you down. Like stop wasting time on things that aren't going to be productive. Yeah. And you're right. Mistakes happen. Like,
I think that there's an element there where you have to do just a certain amount of due diligence, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that you're making the best informed decision. But at some point you have to realize that no matter how much due diligence that you do, you're never going to get it right every single time. And I think what cripples a lot of young entrepreneurs out there is they overanalyze a situation and they get in their head. Right. And then when they make a poor decision, mentally, they get handicapped at that point. They spew on it way too much. And you've got to sit there and go, okay, I shot the 3-point shot. I missed it. Who cares? Right.
Yes.
Because as long as I'm shooting 40% or better, right, I'm still considered elite in the NBA, and you're good, right? Like I hate to use basketball as an analytic there, but you got to realize you're going to miss a lot. You just got to win more than you lose, and you're a success.
Well, this is like when I go in for a business pitch, or if my fees go up, right?
Sure.
I'm asking for more money, or I'm asking to earn your business.
Absolutely.
What's the worst someone is going to say to me?
No. That's right.
So to your point, the more people I'm asking, the more people I'm in front of, the more I'm either validating or proving why I'm worth, or, Paige PR is worth more money.
Yeah.
People will either see it and they'll see the value, or they won't.
That's right.
And I can't spend money. Like, I'm convincing them they believe in what I do, they believe in the value, or they don't. And you can't spend time or, more time or money on it than that.
No.
So
no.
I will tell you, if I can pivot off of this a little.
Yeah, please.
So I told you when I started Paige PR, I didn't even ask. I just was like, well, this is what we're doing. I'm going. So all of this has just exploded. Then COVID hit. And so my work is primarily, my background is oil and gas.
Okay.
That has evolved. Now we call it energy. And it's renewable energy, and it's ESG and all these fun words. And it's industrial and all these things. I don't want to say, PR, I would say PR and marketing maybe lives and dies on oil prices. We're still viewed as a support function, right? So when people are cutting budgets.
Especially right here in Houston too.
Yes, they look to strike this, which is a terrible idea, all you listeners. But what I was going to say is, particularly since maybe 2021 to 2024, I have certainly gone back through these identity crises of like, is this what I should be doing? Because the markets have been so volatile. And I would say business has been, I don't know the right word, static, boom years, crazy boom years in the last 4 years, and years that have been completely lousy. And not just for myself, I would say a lot of business owners, a lot of agency owners. And so kind of going back to the original thought of being decisive, moving in action, like trusting your gut, yes to all of those things. But I think there's also a very real discussion of, I mean, I've been doing this now, or had my agency 13 years, I mean, over a decade. And I feel like I've still, like, that was probably the first time I hit that moment of like, am I still supposed to be doing this? Because this, like, all the ups and downs might be a little bit more than I signed up for. Like, do I want to do this? Is this what still brings me passion and joy, you know?
Let me ask you this question. And I think I know your answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway, okay? And because I think there's a little bit of correlation between what you do and what I do as well, okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, we're a service-based business in that regard, right? And so I know from my perspective, one of the things that I preach with all my employees, and I try to implement and do in everything that I do, is I try to uncover and understand what my pain points are for my clients. Because I think that that's where the real value is. The first thing I would say is I think that you got to be authentic with yourself and be honest with yourself, right? And then you need to be the same way with your clients.
Yeah.
You know, I think the best sells to get either the client going to pay you more money or go with you or not go with you is just your authenticity and never bullshitting them. And sometimes, I apologize, I use harsh language from time to time, but I want to get a point across.
Well, that's how I want people to treat me.
Yeah.
And like
that they know
the people
whatever
that
I tell you,
trust the most.
That's right.
Good or bad are the ones that just
tell it like it is.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah. And you have to get to a point in your life that you're just so comfortable in your skin that if they're going to get offended by you telling them you shouldn't be doing this, you should be spending your money doing this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And as long as you're always acting as a fiduciary and you're never trying to sell them something so you benefit. Now, if it happens to benefit you, but it also benefits the client, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But you're always acting in their best interest. Even when they're spending money or doing something they shouldn't be doing, you call them on their bullshit and say, I understand that's what you want to do, but that's just not the answer.
Jake, that doesn't always go well.
No, it doesn't.
When females are saying that in a male-dominated industry, people don't always like that feedback.
No, I'm not just. I like it myself.
But I do it.
Yeah, but I think that your clients appreciate you more. At least
I think they know.
Yeah.
There's always honesty, and I'm just going to say it how I need to say it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the reason I wanted to share that little nugget with our audience out there is because early on in my career, I was so careful on not wanting to step on people's toes. You know what I mean? Like I would almost placate them on the front end in the sense of if I would catch a little pushback from them that they didn't want to do something.
Yeah.
I would always say, okay, you know, not push the issue because I'm not a pushy person as far as sales or anything like that. Yeah. And I'm still not to this day. But I had to get over the notion of, am I really doing my clients a disservice or am I looking after their best interest if I'm placating them and letting them drive the ship? And you want them to, but if they're not competent in that regard, they really rely on my expertise. And I had a few clients along the way that I didn't speak up on a couple of matters early on in my career, and they got that advice that I wanted to give them. I was just too scared to give them from somebody else, and I lost them as a client because they said, why didn't you come to me and tell me this? Why did you allow me to do this?
That's a valuable learning lesson.
Yeah, that was early on in my career. This was probably 15, 16 years ago. And now I will not do that. And I harp on all of our employees back here.
Yeah.
I say, if you know you can help somebody, why would you not speak up about it?
Yeah.
And
we really went off on our...
Yeah, sorry, I hate to go on the tangents.
No, it was really good. It was really good.
But I think that getting back to creating those barriers, we've got to, as young entrepreneurs, we got to get over those hurdles, right? Where we create those barriers and we have fear because we don't want to speak up or we don't want to upset somebody. And our job is not to just be their friend. Our job is to guide them in the right manner, right? and make sure they're making the right decisions.
Well, it's the same as Paige PR using L&Y. I don't do math.
I understand.
I don't like using QuickBooks. I fumble through invoices. So, I have y'all, or I have people in my sphere, because I don't do that. I work with words for a living.
Yep.
Like anything else, I'm leaving it to the experts, or like I'm trying to buy a new car right now. And I buy them through these auto brokers. But I found one online yesterday that looked awesome. And the impulsive side of me is like, screw it, just go buy it. I'm tired of dealing with this.
Yep.
It's available right now. But then when I talked to my guy, Marcus, he's telling me like, well, did you look at this? And that dealership doesn't have the best reputation. And I'm like, damn it. And the fact is, whatever the hell I buy, I'm buying it through Marcus because I like Marcus's feedback, because he's just leveling with me.
That's right.
And he's like, well, yeah, you can do that, but I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, damn it. All right, Marcus, I'll wait. I literally feel like now I'm in a position where I'm waiting to make a decision based on what Marcus tells me to do.
Yeah. Those are two.
And those are invaluable. Those are the invaluable people.
Two great things you just shared right there.
Yeah.
Number one, if you're going to scale a business, you're going to do anything, you can't do it all, people. You have to outsource.
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
Especially on the tax and invoicing, no thanks.
You can't do it all. You've got to outsource. You've got to focus on the things that you do best in, right? And drive top line revenue for that.
Yeah.
Number two, when you find competent people that you can trust and that are always going to shoot you straight, like Marcus in this situation, right?
Shout out to Marcus.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus. Maybe I need Marcus'
He needs
number.
to listen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there are so many unscrupulous snakes out there that just want to make $1 off of you. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things we always preach here is it's the end game for us. It's not about the short-term money, the front. I don't care. It's about the relationship that you build, right?
Yeah.
It's having clients for life. That means the most. It's the journey. And you need to find good people that you surround yourself with if you're going to be an entrepreneur, whatever your field is. And Paige is alluding to Marcus in this situation. This is someone that she emphatically trusts. She knows that he's going to shoot her straight every single time. You don't replace Marcus. Like, you stick with good people around. Even if Marcus charges just a little bit more here, but you know that Marcus is never going to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And Marcus is always going to tell you the right. That is so invaluable.
Yeah.
Instead of one of the most frustrating things when I see people that start pinching pennies and, well, this person will do it for $100 cheaper over here. And I'm like, if $100, I'll treat you to lunch for $100 if you really want $100.
Yeah.
Like, if we're really talking about $100 here, we don't have the same mindset.
Yeah, you're exactly
right. Like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you've got to it's got to be this paradigm shift, right? In your thought process where you find good people.
Yeah.
And you stick with those good people, because you know if things go sour, whatever, they're always going to make good on it. They're going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And that is so invaluable.
And it was, this was yesterday. I bet it was not even a 5-minute conversation. And he was actually really nice about it, but giving me negative feedback, but he could have just leveled with me like my dad or my brother would have done, or, like someone where it's like, that is stupid. You're not going to go buy that car. That's a bad idea. But that's what he was saying. He just said it a lot nicer, but 5 minutes. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do whatever Marcus says, because it was just no bullshit from the start.
I love it.
Yeah.
Let's kind of pivot just a little bit if you're okay.
Yeah, we went way off
topic. We did, but I love this
My
stuff.
fault, sorry.
No fault at all. When you look back on your entrepreneurial journey, okay,
Yes.
where do you see God's fingerprints in your story?
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure quite a bit of places.
Okay, so a couple of things. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, which is awesome, by the way. Loved it. When I say I love what I do, I really love what I do. I'm also a busybody. I don't think it ever crossed my mind to be a stay-at-home mom. When my husband and I were newly married, he did commercial construction. I've always been oil and gas.
Okay.
So we bought a house in 2008, which was the financial crisis or the housing crisis.
Mortgage-backed security crisis and the credit default swaps, yes.
So we sat around our little bistro table, newly married, looking at each other, going, are you going to lose your job this week, or am I losing my job this week? Because that's what was happening in Houston. And so again, like I never had that call to not work, but I also think that was a moment of clarity where I was also going, I will always work, because at this point in our lives, neither one of us really felt safe with our jobs either. Sure, right. Yeah. So, I think in terms of God and my faith, this is always, again, going back to being decisive. I always knew I wanted to do journalism and PR. I did it in college. What's your calling? I didn't even apply to other colleges. I didn't even need to visit Southwest. I saw photos. I saw the river. It looked good. I was like, I'll go there. I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to work in energy. It's just, I don't know how to describe, like, that's always, because my older brother is, I don't know where I want to go to college. I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I think I could even argue I'm 42. I don't know if this is what I want to do forever. Anyways, so then I always felt like this was my calling. Then I had kids. My son was sick as a baby, just like constantly sick. My parents were helping. And like I was missing a ton of work. He wasn't getting better. And I think that's when I felt God and my faith kind of saying, like, that's great that you want to work, but like this new dynamic is not working. So this was in 2012. Okay. At the time then, I was working for a small energy agency. So in 2012, nobody wants to let you work from home. Yep. I had plenty of job offers, and I was like, I don't care about the job offer. I honestly don't think I cared too much about the money. What I wanted was the flexibility and to be just like a little bit closer to my house versus working downtown. Sure. And honestly, because believe it or not, I used to I like working for other people. So I didn't want to give up like the corporate gig. But nobody wanted to take a risk on it. So that's when I was like, I quit. Like, nobody's winning here. I'm losing the most because I'm trying to split all my time. Like, clients aren't winning. My son is not. Like, my parents are, being run ragged from Lake Conroe to Houston trying to help me out. This stinks. So I quit. I told my husband, give me 6 months. Let's see what happens. And it was hard. And then it just exploded. And then we had these moments in life where it was like, holy cow, should Drew stop working because this is just going gangbusters. Wow. But what's so interesting is, again, like I think God, like the Holy Spirit and all within me is like, no, this is what I'm doing. I've always felt like that's what I was supposed to do. And in these moments of doubt, it's like, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. I really love it. But it's worked out. It's so weird seeing people since the pandemic. So I had an office. So the company goes gangbusters. Again, okay, so I started on my own started my agency, started consulting when I was 30. Okay. Most of my clients, it's men. I'm working with men. They might be startup CEOs. They might be CEOs of billion-dollar companies. It kind of runs the gambit who I'm working with. At that point in time, I even like to think I still look a little young now. I'm walking into an office trying to prove myself to people in my space. Think about just media training, for example, in PR.
It's scary.
When I'm coaching people or training people to be interviewed, what I'm doing is I'm critiquing people. Yeah. They have to be vulnerable, and I'm telling them, don't say this. Do say this. Yeah. You look like an idiot when you stand like that. People don't like to be told that, right? So as a young woman, it's like I'm putting myself out there. Don't run your mouth too much because you're going to run off all your potential clients or all your clients. So I took a risk on all of it, and it just kind of worked out. I'm sorry, guys. You're probably going to have to edit that part.
No,
I feel like I was making a point and then I trailed off where I was going.
I think it's great. One of the things that I want to deduct from what you said, And this is something that we've experienced in our business and a lot of my clients as well. And so it's what it kind of sounds like. So you said you had that lull moment when you started and then everything kind of blew up after 6 months later.
Exploded.
We go through peaks and valleys, in business. And so there will be a time where we're kind of struggling, we're kind of limping along, right? And we're kind of in that little valley down there. And it looks like, we haven't gotten any new referrals or no new leads have come in the door or anything like that. And we're like, man, it's been a while. Are we going to get any new business coming in the door? And then all of a sudden, we don't just get one. We get like 9 new contacts that come in. Like things come in bunches.
When it rains, it pours.
Yeah. Things come in bunches. And getting back to faith, I mean, and I don't always go to faith when it comes to just business related things, but you start questioning, like, at least early on in your career, we don't really question as much anymore. We've been around for so long, but you start questioning, are we going to continue to go through? You go through 6 months of a dry spell. Are you going to continue? Is it going to continue? Right?
Yeah.
And then it's like God goes, okay, all right. I just wanted to humble you a little bit.
Totally.
And you've shown your worth. You weathered the storm. Here you go. Here's 7 new leads.
All in one day.
All in one day.
Sometimes all in 1 hour.
Yeah.
And
you're like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah.
And you didn't really. And so what I want people to understand is it doesn't happen overnight.
No.
And even when you don't see any results from all the hard work that you're putting in, just realize there's a delay oftentimes. And it's coming. You just got to keep your faith and keep pushing forward.
And I also think keep grinding.
Yes.
Because to your point, it's so hard. And of course, we've all been taught this, but it's like, we expect that we work hard and then we're going to see an immediate result. Yeah. This is all of us, right? We want instant gratification. And the fact is, that's not how life works and it's not how business works. So it's so funny. Like my year is usually pretty solid and consistent for the first half. Summer is always dead. People are on vacation. The first 6 months of like oil and gas related work is usually really busy. So again, people are on vacation. September through December is all new business or closing out the year with whatever large announcements they may have. So this year started out busier. I probably had more leads in January after Trump won election. My phone rang probably to the degree that it rang in like 2015. I bet I had 20 or 30 new business calls within a week. And I was like, holy smokes. I don't remember the last time I had so much coming in. So then, I'm trying to be selective on who I'm working with, finding the right clients. And then all the tariff talk started, all the calls and all the people, everything stopped. And like I was making the comment earlier, rates are up, right?
Yep.
So the summer is slow. Summer's historically slow for me. I know that, but I would say this summer I'm like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden school started back. So usually I'd say after Labor Day, and all of a sudden school started back. And to your comment, I think I had 4 or 5 calls all on the same day.
Yep.
And it's like, okay. I mean, again, I anticipated that, this last quarter or so would pick back up. I'm seeing that, but kind of all this year when it's been weird and wonky, it's like, just kind of stay the course. We're going to keep doing what we always do.
That's right.
I'm not going to lose my head because things have been weird since COVID. So I'm just keep swimming, like just keep going.
Yep.
But you never know like when it's going to hit because August 15th or 13th, that's really early for me to see like the uptick in interest. That's an earlier time of year than usual.
Yeah. I mean,
but it'll make you feel kind of stir crazy too.
Yeah. No, you've got to, I think the thing I want to hit on as well there is you've got to stay ready all the time.
Yeah.
Because, I get it. It gets very easy to get discouraged, right? Because you're like, oh man, we're going through another dry spell. Okay. Now we're at month 6, month 7, when's this going to pick up? And so I guess what I want people to understand is like, you got to stay ready. You can't sit there because the moment that you're not ready and someone calls you, and you're not prepared for that phone call because either you're depressed, you went out, you had some drinks that night, you're hungover,
Yeah.
or you're just not on your game, right?
Yeah.
And your head's not in the game for whatever the reason is. And that person calls you, and then your interaction with that individual, isn't palatable for that other person, isn't exactly what they were looking for. And then you just wasted that opportunity because your head was not in the game for whatever reason. You got distracted.
Yeah.
And so you got to just make sure that you're always ready. It's like you're the center fielder and no one's hit the ball out there to you. But the moment that you take your eye off the ball and you're not paying attention, that's when someone's going to drive one over your head. And then
totally. And everyone's looking at you like, where were you on that one?
And it could be the biggest hit that changes the game. The whole thing pulls you up out of it, And so just always keep your head in the game and always be ready.
So what has been really helpful for me the last 12 to 18 months are my calls with Jenny. So when I'm talking to business owners, so my work in PR is B2B. I told you it's predominantly energy and industrial. So again, my clients can kind of run the gamut. They're not in my space in terms of small business, right? Totally cool. So I talk to a lot of agency owners and I know how we all feel, right? Or like what we see going on in business. But it's great when I've had like the quarterly conversations or discussions about my business with Jenny. When I am losing my head or I'm like, what is going, I had a dozen calls on Monday and no one will call me back Friday, but it's great to have her perspective because she's working with other businesses that are not in my space. And so she has a much bigger picture of kind of like what she's seeing working with businesses. And it is genuinely helpful to me where she's like, here's what's going on. You're not alone right now. And just giving me her business insight, that has been really invaluable.
Great. That was one of the things that we instituted is
really
just quarterly check-ins to see, letting clients know that we care. We're here to walk them through it.
Well, I can ask her my stupid questions too on
absolutely
whatever I have with anything, but just like the business insight that I'm not necessarily getting from my dad because he did real estate, or a lot of my friends that are entrepreneurs are branding and creative or high-end events. So it's like we're all closely connected, but it's also just our little bubble. So to hear what's going on, bigger picture, is just so helpful.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Like, it's so important to make sure you have your network in place. Because your network is going to get you where you want to be for that next level. We were talking about it earlier before we had our little Spark session meeting. And I said, I don't care if you're selling a product or a service or whatever it is. At the end of the day, you're selling to people. Okay. And so you have to understand the psychology of things. You have to build relationships. You have to build that trust. And so if you are an entrepreneur or a young entrepreneur out there and you're struggling in whatever field, whether it's a product, a service, whatever you're trying to sell, you need to learn how to connect with people.
Have you read The Imposter Syndrome?
I have not, no.
Do you read a lot of books?
I do.
Okay. I'll send you one.
Okay.
It's this lady, her name is Amy Cuddy.
Okay.
She was getting her doctorate in psychology at Stanford or something.
Sure.
And she was in a car accident and had a traumatic brain injury.
Okay.
So the book is Imposter Syndrome. It's predominantly for women, but it's like when we walk into a room and we don't feel qualified with who's sitting in there. But what it goes into is the psychology of people buy from people that they like.
That's right.
It's not
300%.
You can go in there and be the smartest person in the room. Nobody cares if they don't like you. It goes into a lot of that, as well as like body language and how you read like decision makers and people in the room. So it's super fascinating with like all of the psychology. And it goes into talk about imposter syndrome. Here she is, after this car accident, she's got a stutter and she's having to speak and give TED Talks or go present to like really important people. And, she's got kind of this disability or, something going on. And she's like, I've got to be handed a microphone and go out there and speak, which is like my biggest struggle right now.
Terrifying.
Who would want to do that?
Absolutely.
So anyways, it was really cool to read, but the part about authenticity and we buy from people we like.
Absolutely.
Was what it comes down to.
Yeah. I mean, even, I don't care if you're scrolling on TikTok or you're scrolling on YouTube Shorts or whatever you're looking at out there. You follow the people that it resonates with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's certain people you go, and I can't stand that individual. And they might be producing good content. You're just like, they just look kind of slimy. There's something about them that just rubs me the wrong way. You won't watch them. But someone else that's much more palatable or someone that you just resonate with, or you just go, I really like their story. I like where they came from, what they're about. They just, same thing goes for politicians, whatever it is, right? We vote, we make our decisions with our brain and with our heart. I believe that. And, you can even go back and look at like two doctors. You can have a guy that's a world-renowned doctor and somebody else who's just a good old boy, but has great bedside manners. And you just, you know what I mean?
Totally.
And you're going to go with that number two. He might not be the same doctor.
Yeah.
But you know that he cares about you. You can feel his heart. You can feel his positive energy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is people do business with people that they resonate with and that they form a bond with. It's very important. And people need to take heed to that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. You founded Paige PR in 2012.
Yes.
You wanted to build a life with more balance. What was the final straw or pivotal moment that pushed you to take that leap of faith? And we kind of hit on it just a little bit, but what one thing that you just said, you know what? Screw it, I'm going to do it.
I'm almost slightly uncomfortable putting it all out there. I will tell you, okay, so I worked in corporate comms at a large oilfield services company, and then an energy law firm found me. So I went over there, and then a woman I worked for years ago, when I interned, asked me to come run her firm. And I thought, that'd be fun. I really hate legal marketing. I'm out of this. And the woman I worked for was always a little eccentric. I knew it would be like a little bit of a difficult personality to go back, but I wanted out of legal marketing. I thought it would be fun. And she did not believe in God, was not a believer. It's funny you asked me this question because I was thinking about this the other day on my drive. And I was thinking about this exact moment, I think, when I learned that she was atheist and didn't believe in God. Because I wondered, like, if would I have taken that job and gone to work for her then if I had known? And the truth is, yes, I think we're not called to separate ourselves, certainly not be judgy or any of those things. So, yeah, I definitely would have gone and worked for her or anyone regardless of their religious belief if I liked them and I liked the work and all of that. Having said that, I think about what called me to leave, which obviously my son. But I think I had told you, like, there was also a calling of like, hey, this isn't for you. You need to go do your own thing. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder if that was part of it, almost like subconsciously, is like,
could have factored in, yeah.
I don't know if I can work in this environment. Because honestly, there was some other like bizarre behaviors and things going on where I was like, I gotta get out of here. Mm-hmm. But I think back a lot, like, did I handle myself the way I wanted to when I left? No, that's the answer to that question. Did I try my best? Probably. I'll give myself that credit. But it's just kind of like, I genuinely think there were like a series of things, besides just like trying to satisfy way too many people and it wasn't working. But like, I think there were just spiritual things, call it what you want, but there were certainly things going on around me, I think, it was going to happen whether or not I needed more flexibility, I think. So,
and sometimes it's hard to even put your finger on just one specific thing, right? Sometimes it's a multitude of things that drive you into something. And like you just said, sometimes it's just a feeling. There's just, this is not the right place. This is what I need to be doing. And
I was not my best self, but I also think maybe the environment or like the situation, it was almost, maybe it was again, like Holy Spirit and my subconscious being like, get out of here. So there was a time when my husband was in commercial construction. So now he builds really high-end homes in River Oaks. That's what he does now. But when he was going through his struggle of like, do I change careers? I'm really unhappy here. These people want me, but maybe the offer isn't coming as fast. And then he lost his job. And I told him, I said, maybe God had to slap you in the face to get you to move, because clearly I don't need more than 5 minutes to make literally life-altering decisions. Drew is not like that. Okay. He is very thoughtful, and he thinks through stuff and really needs a lot of time. And I was like, we had been mulling over this for 6 months, and he wasn't happy. And then when he lost his job, I was kind of like, "Ugh, what a relief. Something finally happened, or there was a decision made. Let's move forward." And honestly, him losing his job was the biggest blessing that ever happened. It cleared the path for all these great things to happen for him. But
a lot of people don't realize that when something that, at least on the surface, appears to be just something negative or something bad. I was actually talking to one of my good friends. He came on last week on the podcast, and he has got a company out there called the 1% Doctor. And so he's not a doctor himself, but he manages some of the top doctors in the world as a business coach and helps grow their practices and things like that. And him and I were we were talking, and he was the one I told you we talked for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Just so much to talk about. And I shared with him, I said, I don't know if you know who Jocko Willink is.
I don't.
He's a ex Navy SEAL guy or Marine guy. I can't remember, but now he's has his own little podcast, his own supplement company. He's always on the Joe Rogan show quite a bit. But one of the things he says, and I'll probably butcher this as well, but he goes, "So you lost that job? Good. So you lost that client? Good. So you weren't able to lift a certain amount of weight or run 5 miles?
Yeah.
Good. What did you learn from that?" You see what I'm saying? There's not everything that appears to be a bad thing is actually a bad thing. That's a learning opportunity that God has bestowed upon you.
Yes.
And you should just say, well, good. Oh, the girl you were dating, you planned on marrying, she decided to leave you? Good. She wasn't the right person. There's so many different things that we get ourselves in a rut, and we go, we turn into this Debbie Downer shit where we just go, oh, I feel sorry for myself. This isn't going right. This is good. Maybe you're not supposed to be doing that.
So, yes, I agree with everything you said. And it honestly goes back to me playing golf at a very high level with nothing but teenage girls playing at a very high level, and kind of dealing with sports psychology and mental psychology. Why I'm listening to sports psychology tapes at 16 years old is a whole separate discussion we could set to the side. But all of that has factored into, my longer career, the faith, and kind of doing the status check when things get hard. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? God, are you trying to call me somewhere else? Or am I supposed to stay the course, even when the course is a total dumpster fire? I don't think I should be doing this. Let's go do something that's a lot better and frankly a lot easier. Just all of those things. And it's so funny you bring this up, because even as I'm talking to my kids now, right? So we teach them and we parent them when they're little. Well, now mine are older. So I guess it's more of a coach mentorship thing. They don't need me to, frankly, they do need me to still cook their meals. But I'm saying they're more self-sufficient. But now to your point, it's well, what do you do? My son failed his biology quiz real bad the other day. Well, what are you going to do about it? Because I'm not going to do anything about it. But I can tell you suddenly, your freshman grades are very important. So you better go get tutoring or figure this out, because you can't fail this class. And that's one example, but the sports or all this stuff. Yeah. It's you better figure it out, because it's your life, and you're going to face all this adversity. It's
funny you say that, because I had a little issue with my daughter the other night. She's 16. Okay.
Oh, okay. We're right in the thick of it, aren't we?
We are. She's a junior in high school. And one of the things that I've always tried to nail down with her is setting priorities. right?
Yeah.
Understanding your priorities and being prepared. And so she gets her syllabus like 1 week before. So she knows the whole next week what's going to happen.
Yeah. She's a girl. She's on top of it.
She was, but she wasn't this time.
Oh.
So yeah, so I called her downstairs and she was crying. And I said, what's going on?
Oh, shoot.
Daddy, I'm just not ready. I'm gonna fail this quiz. I'm just not ready. And I tried. So I spent 3 hours this weekend studying, and I said, okay. So, but what class is this for? And she says, well, this is for AP class. I said, okay. Do you remember when you decided to register for AP classes? I told you it is a bigger commitment from sophomore to junior when you're going to have AP classes now. If that's what you want, that 3 hours you designated might be 6 or 9 now.
Yeah.
So how much time did you spend at the mall this weekend? How much time did you spend getting your hair done? How much time did we talk to the boyfriend on the phone? Sometimes those things got to take a back seat. So good. You're going to fail this quiz. Be thankful that it's right at the beginning of the season so you can recover. But what did you learn from this?
Yeah. Okay. But don't let your daughter listen to this part of the podcast. Okay. This is for all your listeners. Okay. So I graduated college early.
Okay.
Do you know why? Because at Southwest, they gave you money back if you graduated on time or early.
Oh.
Because it was a party school, right? And they couldn't get people to graduate. Case in point, my husband and some of his friends were there 7 or more years. And it's like, y'all, you cannot stay here. You have to graduate.
Yeah.
So here I am, right? I made good enough grades, got out early. I'm so on top of my stuff. And Drew hung around way longer than he needed to, got like twice the salary I got when he graduated, which was super infuriating as like a type A person. But it's so funny because I look at my friends, I look, the entrepreneurial, or even if they've done the corporate thing. Yes, grades are important. Hear me on that, everyone. But it's also about using your brain and just flat out working hard. And so with both my kids, but it was the most eye-opening thing when I was like a young professional, because my parents were pretty tough on me, whatever. I remember going places and being like, if I just show up on time and just like use my brain, not even necessarily go above and beyond, but like try to think through a couple steps before I reply to the email. It's mind-blowing. And I remember telling my mom, I don't know, when I was like 25, I'm like, I'm blown away by how many idiots there are.
Absolutely.
That by all accounts are kind of like successful business people, or you're interacting with them and you're like, it's mind-blowing. And so I'm like, half the success is just showing up and just, you're not asking stupid questions. Ask a question, step in it, fail, figure it out, but like keep moving forward.
I know many successful entrepreneurs that are clients of mine. And I'm not going to name them.
And they're probably like C students.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe D's or F's.
Yeah, I mean, but they got out and went, I can do this.
And the things that they are most persistent, they're not even qualified in their fields. And they make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But you know what they're good at? Persistence.
Yes.
They will not take no for an answer.
Yeah.
They will not stop.
Yes.
They'll bang that door, jump over that door, go around that door, underneath it, whatever it takes.
Well, I don't think most people are willing to do that.
That's right. They give up. They throw a lot of these newer generations, I'll say this all the time, they throw their hands up. Any adversity. Oh my God, this is so hard.
Yes.
What do I do? Please, somebody come save me.
Yes.
Newsflash. No one's here to save you.
Yeah.
You're here to save yourself.
Okay. So my son's 14. I told you my husband builds homes. So we built our home, but we are we do everything ourselves. Anyways, so Gage knows how to mow the yard. He mows yards. He mows so many yards, he can't even take on anymore. At 13, he made like thousands of dollars in the summer. Thousands. His friends don't know how to mow yards.
I don't doubt it.
They don't know how to mow a yard. But there's one boy, and his dad's not present, so obviously he's not mowing yards or has a yard to mow or whatever. He will come over and he would mow to earn money, but to learn how to do it. And Drew and I were like, we'll take you to the little lawn equipment shop and you can buy your own stuff and you can mow yards on your street. And then we've had, like this summer, Gage had one other friend, I think, be like, hey, can I mow yards with you? Because they don't know how to do it. And honestly, I have even told him, I'm like, I mean, if you don't want to go to college, like I'm pretty sure you could just have a lawn crew in this neighborhood. You'd bank, buddy. We can't even get you off our street because I don't think there's enough kids willing to do hard work.
That's right.
But I also think maybe there's, and maybe this is a bold statement, but like the parents aren't out there teaching them how to do it.
Oh, I think it's very valid.
Either someone else will do it and it's, I mean,
no, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Because people will support a young kid working hard.
Absolutely, they will.
It's crazy. People will throw money at him. My daughter babysits. That's a great gig. I'm like, golly.
Absolutely.
But you have to show up and do something.
You got to show up. You got to get it done. Yeah. So between 2016 and 2018, you grew 408%.
Yes.
Okay. Earning a spot on Inc. 5000. What key moves drove that expansion, and what lessons from that period stay relevant today?
Man. Okay, so.
I mean, that's impressive, Paige.
Yes.
That's very impressive, okay?
So we were the number 9 fastest growing business in Houston. I don't know what year. It could have been 2018.
Okay.
We went to the Houston Business Journal's luncheon, and they count down from 100. I thought we'd be like 99, and it kept getting down. And I remember looking at the man next to me and being like, "Shit, I think I'm going to win this thing," and I didn't. But 9 was still
that's
awesome.
A huge win in itself. Yeah.
So again, you kind of have to follow the story of oil prices. So I think 2012 to 2015. The oil and gas market was really good. So it grew. And that was when Paige PR grew. I think it's important to know kind of with the volatility, right? People lose their jobs. Well, when I worked in-house, I worked with like the corporate marketing teams, but I worked with a lot of young engineers. Well, when they all move, and as they moved up the ranks, and these are my friends I'd see at trade shows or whatever, we just go have cocktails because I don't really like to sell, but I'd love to have a drink. So, we were all kind of moving up in our careers. So my business kept growing. Well, I think in 2015, oil went down. People get laid off, but they still need contractors or consultants. So the other part of that is I'm more focused on the PR side, which is like media, speaking, talking to your audiences versus marketing. At that point in time, probably more like trade shows, traditional advertising dollars. I don't do a lot of that. I do more of like the earned media coverage side. And so people were pulling back on trade shows and whatnot, but saying, I still need to be out in front of my audience. And podcasts, webinars and stuff was not that popular at that time. So it just kept growing even through the downturns. But then I went and hired an old colleague. I hired a really great young professional. So I have a really good relationship with the University of Houston. Okay. So with colleges and with mass comm or communications as a degree, it can be a joke or it can be a really good program. So Southwest Texas has a really good communications program. Okay. U of H has a really good communications program. A lot of schools don't. And so when I was hiring interns, I'd get people that within 24 hours, because my business moves really fast and I have to move really fast. It's the news. So I'd get people that would come in and they were just worthless, right? Like couldn't use a computer, weren't willing to like learn an industry that's like really kind of intricate and detailed. But I had a young woman come in that like would pull her chair into my office and work all day and ask questions. And so both of those two hires were just so strategic and helpful because I had a really strong junior person that could take on a lot more work and would stay and grind it out, right? She's trying to cut her teeth, get a full-time job with me, but just learn stuff, right? Because my network is so broad. She's constantly interacting with people that are ultimately going to give her a better job than I could ever offer. And then Kristen, who was my colleague that I brought in, she worked in different industries. So whereas so when you hire, I don't know, let's just say you hire a traditional marketing agency. maybe you don't want to hire someone that works with a different tax advisory firm, right? You don't want your competitors to know what you're doing.
Sure.
It's not like that in PR.
Okay.
I have all the oil and gas contacts. Everyone in energy or oil and gas calls me.
Okay.
Competitor or not, right? Because you need those relationships built. So I had the ground game covered with that, but that's all I had. Kristen had aerospace, medical, safety. All of those overlap with oil and gas. So if you say you make safety devices for a chemical plant,
Okay.
that would be a client of mine. Well, you're using those same safety devices in hospitals or like NICU units.
So you're building those relationships between the two, and you can make introductions there in a sense.
Yes, there was a lot of cross-selling because we had different client bases, but very similar. There's a lot of overlap between energy, aviation and aerospace, commercial real estate, and the medical sector.
Got it.
So it, like all of these other industries that I wasn't going after because I could not go sell the expertise in that space. Kristen could do that. And we kind of realized like, oh, we can expand this. And there's so much overlap because if you have like SLB or someone, I don't know, making a new piece of equipment. Well, if I have a commercial real estate group and maybe they're putting in a $200 million facility, it's like, well, I can handle the contacts on the energy side and on the commercial real estate side,
Makes sense.
or it's all going hand in hand.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well. So that helped with a lot of the growth, and it just kept growing. So I think when I trailed off earlier, I was saying it grew and it grew, and then I got office space because I'm a young woman and I need a brick and mortar to look credible, right?
Yep.
And now I have employees and we need a place to go. So I got office space, and it just kept going. And then COVID hit, and frankly, everyone was always sick. Someone was sick in the house, or autoimmunes, exposure.
Yeah.
So nobody could really come in. That was such a weird time. We actually were still growing in like 2020 into 2021. And people were hiring us that had never met us because all you could do is meet on Zooms, right?
Yeah.
And then I hit that wall where I'm like, why am I paying for all this office space and we can't even use it? So I was saying like everything kind of changed. Maybe my business model changed in like 2021 to where we are now. But all of the growth, probably 2012 to 2020, was just organic, or it was bringing in the right people to help me do that. And I got rid of a lot of people too.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that in business, unfortunately.
I'm a turn and burn kind of girl. Like if it's not working out, let's not waste either of our time.
Absolutely.
So that was not the peak, but that was a really fun time for it to grow so much.
So yeah, let's pivot off that for a second. So after you grew the team to about 10 in staff, you later shifted to a smaller, more focused team of roughly around 4. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah.
How do you define success today, and what influenced that decision?
Okay, so a couple of things. Work slowed. So I think we started on like what our strengths are as a business owner. Do you know what I'm not good at?
What's that?
I'm not good at coaching these younger generations because I told you my work moves very fast. The news cycle can move fast. If you are not interested, I don't have time to teach you. I don't have time to teach you.
You can't one up more than they do.
No.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, at least at that point in time, you talk about someone that manifested like, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I did that for myself, but working for Paige PR allowed you a lot of work from home flexibility when I had the office space. But then after COVID, it's like, well, we're all working from home. Oh my gosh. I would have, so the way that I hired junior associates is I'd have them for like a 90-day trial period, right? And see if it worked.
Sure.
I would have interns get on camera with like sweatshirts with their unmade bed in the background with like a stuffed animal, and their hair wasn't even brushed. And I'm like, hey, I'm a casual person. You cannot do that with the clients we're talking to. And I had no patience for it. So as things slowed down, I honestly just it's almost like sharpening a pencil where it's like, I'm going to get rid of the stuff that I don't want to do, which is build a team or like train a team. And what I also learned, I think during all that growth, is I was stepping away to do more business development, right? And the team was doing work. I like doing the work. I like a lot of the writing. I like all the interaction and managing the accounts. So I think I just took it where we just cut some of the waste and just kept it like the 3 or 4 of us that are more senior in our roles, that we can just take it and run with it. We can pass stuff to each other. We all know what we're doing.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Well, and I think you have to be chameleon enough and understand that when you go through downturns, right? When your business kind of stalls or is not doing as well as it had been, right?
Yeah.
You have to make adjustments in your business. And that is one of the elements that I think is very crucial and very critical, that I think businesses that end up faltering and don't make it, ultimately they end up becoming disconnected from their business. Because I see this all the time. I see businesses where someone starts their business, and most business owners, not all business owners, but most business owners are great in their craft, but they're terrible business owners. And the analogy I'm gonna give is someone who wants to be a professional athlete. Once they make it to the show, then they go, I've achieved everything that I think I would do.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to be an all-star or Pro Bowl player or any of these different things. I'm not trying to win a championship. I just made it to the show.
Yeah.
And then what ultimately happens in 2, 3, 4 years, then they're kicked out of the show. They're no longer in the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball. Same thing goes for business. They get disconnected from their business. They become the successful friend with all of their other friends that aren't entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And they're going to the bars and they're drinking. They're having a good time, right? I wanted to make $200,000 a year. I'm making that. And what happens is it just starts slipping and slipping and slipping. And they don't realize that it's happening until it's too late, because they're not invested in their business anymore. And I applaud you for realizing when it was time you have to cut, right? When you go through downturns and become more of a focused group, because you're involved so much in your business, and that's very crucial and critical.
So a couple things. Second child, impulsive, right? So people can give me advice.
Okay.
And I will listen to it and genuinely absorb it. I'm not sure I always understand things until I walk through them myself to like really understand like a painful or difficult lesson in business, right? I also had an agency owner mentor to me, and this is early on. It was probably early on when I was like, holy cow, I just made $200,000 this year. And last year I made 30. This is awesome. Lunches on me, or whatever it is.
Yeah, sure.
And I remember he said to me, I don't remember the context, but he said, some people build legacy businesses and some people are just, or maybe the other was like a leisure business.
Okay.
And of course, at the time I'm like young and bright eyed, and obviously I'm building a legacy business. There's no question here. And honestly, maybe that is still my goal, but it has been interesting as my business has evolved. From that time, like 2012 to 2018, I think part of it was like just hanging onto my seat. I mean, it grew so quickly, so fast. And I think there is a lot of truth in saying like sometimes too much growth that fast can be a bad thing. I'm competitive. I don't like losing. So I wasn't always taking work that really was strategic, frankly, because I just wanted to win, right?
Of course.
So that's a lesson I learned. But then kind of in this, I guess I'll call it the second stage, my kids are older, and oh my gosh, I thought things would be easier for me to juggle. I'm going to baseball games out of town on Wednesday. Like I'm watching baseball for 3 days. I don't know what day it is. I'm looking at all these other parents like, does anyone around here work? Like, how are we all out here? This is ludicrous. But I think and again, like maybe it's still a legacy business, but I also think maybe my goals have changed.
Sure.
So, maybe it was God's way, or, maybe this is the era I'm in right now until they go to college, and then I'll dive right in. But honestly, maybe for this next stage, work is more strategic. Frankly, I'm probably meaning Paige, not Paige PR, but like I'm still making the same amount I was when we were going gangbusters because I don't have all my overhead costs.
You're leaner.
So just because I look bigger and more accomplished 2016 to 2018 doesn't mean I didn't have more headaches or was going, wait, we're doing awesome. Where'd all the money go? So it feels a little more strategic. Maybe it's okay that it's a little slower right now because I think kind of going back to that point, what I'm learning is this is a really great time to do a couple of things. Learn and understand the sides of the business that I'm terrible at, that if I'm going to be a good business owner, I really have to I can still be awful at QuickBooks and everything, but I need to have knowledge of like what's going on here. Like when I'm reading these reports, what am I really looking at? What do I really care about? But it's also kind of going, what are going to be the best kind of clients I can bring in that 5 years ago, I would have just said, give me. Now, it's like, well, have you worked with an agency before? I want to work with people that want to work with me, but understand the value. And if we can't come to those agreements, I'd rather walk away from the client.
It's not a good fit.
Yeah. So,
I think you're taking more of a qualitative stance here instead of quantitative before.
Yeah.
And
but it still feels good. Different. Different from almost running myself ragged, but maybe almost like this work is perhaps more important right now. And I don't want to say it's more focused on the business owner, but perhaps I just have time to sit. Like I have time to dedicate to the business side. Whereas in 2015 and 2018, I didn't have the time to even examine. It was like, holy cow, it's going crazy. It
was almost like churning and burning in a sense.
Yeah.
And I get that. No, I think there's something beautiful about being able to slow down a little bit in business. And I think you extract a little more appreciation when you get to kind of almost hyper focus on the things that matter and things that maybe you weren't as competent on, but now you get to improve your competency level on various different aspects of your business. And then you just respect and you appreciate your business so much more. Whereas you kind of take it for granted when things just kind of blow up. And we've experienced some of that as well. And we're kind of at that phase now where we're very selective on our new clients that come in the door now. If they're, is the monetary aspect a portion? It is, but for more so than that, it's, are our business mindsets, are they aligned? Are you trying to do the right thing, right? Are you trying to grow your organization? So we try to cultivate a relationship that's more about advising now than just the compliance work, because compliance is just compliance at the end of the day. And we want to help companies take them to the next level. And I know that's what you want to do too. And it's so much more rewarding when you see the growth and the impact that you are able to bestow upon your clients. I think it's just so much more rewarding.
Well, you said something that resonates. So the way the Paige PR works, we don't do hourly. So we do like project or retainer work, right? When you're really busy, your rates go up, right? And then when you have these down years, you go, oh, maybe I'll drop my rates. I need to pick up some more work. Being smaller and perhaps not having the stress of making sure everyone's plates are full, I think it's just such an excellent point, because it's like, if there's someone that gets it and gets what I do, and maybe they're smaller and maybe they're not necessarily in my wheelhouse, but there's, number one, like a respect for my craft and my time and my rates or whatever it is. I am so much more open to working with that person than taking a larger client that is probably needs to be, I need to be charging them double, but they're like super high maintenance. They really don't understand the value in the work. Like I would much rather walk away from those clients. And I feel much more confident in doing that today than I did 5 years ago.
And it's getting back to what we talked about, getting comfortable in your skin.
Yeah.
And just, knowing who you are and what your values are and making sure the people you do business with, that their values align with your values.
Definitely.
So, let me ask you this. So Paige PR works across many different sectors like energy and aerospace and technology. We touched on some of those. What does it take to craft effective PR strategies such as in such complex industries, would you say?
What does I'm glancing at that, but then it's also so different. So things have changed so much since I started. The landscape has changed.
Yeah, I can see that.
Since I started in 2005, and then since I started in my agency, I think authenticity and some vulnerability goes along with that, right? Saying what you're really great at. A lot of people don't like to brag, but also maybe saying, hey, we're not great at that, and we're going to let that side of our business go or kind of raise someone else up in the space. So when people think of PR, they think of marketing. So, the sales cycle and what are we doing to get in front of people? And there is part of that, but true PR is storytelling, is getting your story out to your audiences, whether that's the local news, whether that's a trade publication on a new product or service you launched. That could be the communities in Conroe. If, hey, we're putting in a 24-hour steel facility. Sorry, new homeowner that just bought a beautiful home. We're in your backyard now. So I think there's just a complete lack of education and awareness of what PR is and how it can really benefit you. So like I go into businesses all the time. They can be massive businesses, global, public, hundreds of billions of dollars, and they really don't know what PR is. And then I go into other businesses where PR is completely separate from communication. So I think people don't realize that they probably are sitting on gold mines of stories, feel-good stories, industry stories, acquisitions, new technologies, women who mean business. Like they're probably sitting on all these things and they don't even realize that they should be communicating this.
That's right.
So they're just burying their story. But then when something bad happens and they're in the news, they panic. And it's like, well, if you had built this trust with your communities, you wouldn't be in this, where your reputation and your credibility is damaged. The other thing that has changed, we talked about this a little before, is social media and all of these different platforms have emerged. TikTok, LinkedIn, I mentioned Reddit. There's all these platforms to be used. They're cheap, they're easy, they're direct to your audience, but they all have different angles and there are different strategies and ways to use all of them. So like Facebook can be used, but totally different than LinkedIn. Obviously, that's an obvious one. But it's like I was saying, even the LinkedIn algorithm has been shifting since January. I think they're trying to catch up with Reddit because Reddit has become such a valid place, even for B2B, where like people are going for really deep knowledge and they're ready to buy. So it's like if you don't have a team, or if you're, number one, if you're not exploiting the stories, or frankly, not even willing to tell anything. And then if you're not using, frankly, like the free or inexpensive tools at your fingertips, like you don't always have to have a massive budget to put stuff out there. You just have to do stuff.
That's right.
And so it's like, people don't need to sit on the sidelines. They need to do stuff, but they need to be intentional about what they're doing.
That's right.
Right. Video is way high performing, as well as like authentic storytelling. So if you look on your LinkedIn feed, for instance, you'll see people giving a lot more like personal stories and how it applies to work versus like, hey, check out this awesome case study, click here. There's a lot less of that. They're just going straight to
it's the
impact.
authenticity. They want the stuff that's not
Yeah.
pre-scripted, right? It just comes straight from the heart.
Which I do too.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the
That's why I'm buying from Marcus.
I love it. I love it. In your Compro article, you break down a 5-step system for strong press coverage. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
How do these guidelines translate into training your team or working with specific clients today?
I mean, I don't know exactly what I said in that article, but it is a process. So what happens so often is, oh my gosh, I get this call all the time. I've got good news. I need a press release. Okay, cool. I'll take that money. I'll put your press release out. And you don't do anything else the rest of the year. Why on earth would you spend money with me to do a one-off random thing?
Yep.
That's like, do you think someone's going to call and go, wow, I read that awesome news clip and I thought I have got to call you? That's not how my world works. It's shaping perceptions. And so when we go into pitch people, when we're talking about a process, and a lot of times I said we do project or retainer work. I'm not interested in hourly work for 100 different reasons. But this is why people's mindsets have to shift where they think strategically. PR is not a one and done. It is like, I always tell people it's like pushing a snowball up a hill. For like the first 90 days, there's a lot of hard work. We're refining whether it's your corporate messages or like if you're an individual, executive that we need to put out there, like we're trying to refine the messages, define the value prop. Who are the audiences? What are we saying to each of them? There should be a calendar year full of what is being communicated.
That's right. That's right.
So it's this whole process of like, okay, first we need the messages, then we're going to outline the strategy, who we're targeting, when, where, what times of the year are these topics most important, and things come up on the fly. That's half the job. But we also want to have that underlying strategy, and then it's executing. And people never. It's just like we talk about with instant gratification. People never want to invest or do the hard work up front.
That's right.
Never. They want the press release. And then I had this call this week. Well, we did a press release in 2024, got tons of coverage, and we haven't gotten any work since then. They have not done
nothing since then.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Not just externally. They have like 3,000 people internally across the country for cross sales.
Yep.
They never even communicated it to like other team members. So it's, just the process of doing it all. The other thing people get caught up in, people will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on new websites. That's awesome. I love it. I don't do websites, but I can write the copy or advise. That's great. Then they don't want to do anything else. Why on earth would you, it doesn't matter if it's $200,000 or $2,000. If you are not going to
got to drive traffic to it as well.
traffic.
That's right.
And you know what's really ruining it is AI mode and AI overview on Google. So you are already being punished by your domain algorithms if you weren't publishing new blogs or posting new things on social media. That already hurts you. But now with AI overview and AI mode, website traffic is down between like 30 and 70% across the board. And then if you're not, actively doing anything, it hurts you even worse. Whereas if you were doing all these things, all the AI stuff might actually pick up your content. So it's like people calling like, oh, I need a new website. Okay, great. Are you going to do anything after that? Because at the end of the day, it's just another tool. It might be your biggest tool.
You can't have champagne taste with a beer budget, can you?
No.
You've got to invest. And
Yeah.
that's what clients need to understand. Any young entrepreneur, you have to invest. Invest in yourself, invest in your
Yes.
business, constantly improve. Just because you exceeded what your growth was or what your earnings were for that year, sometimes you just don't need to take all that out in a distribution. You need to reinvest that capital back into the business so you can continue to grow.
So the hardest part, I told you, communications, marketing, PR, most C-suite execs view it as a support function. When budgets get cut, it goes. It is changing, but that is the most short-sighted thing you can do. Because when you need to drum up new business, you need all of those efforts. And probably the most important time to do it is when you're slow, right?
That's right.
You're not going to get those calls today, but they're going to see you plodding along, telling your story, doing all your stuff.
That's right.
And then when things turn for them, they're going to call with the person they've been seeing like top of their feet or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
I hope that answered that question.
No, it did. It did. Thank you. So you've talked about mentorship and you've talked about mentorship as a mindset. Can you share a moment when mentoring someone, brought unexpected insight or change for you or maybe even them?
Yes. I was glancing at my answer. I wrote these a while ago and I was like, is it the same one? So I think I like having mentors, but I rely on them. I think when I hired Natasha, the fresh out of college gal, to see if it would work, I think she's the one that really shifted my mindset in terms of I'm decisive, because she really, we talked about young professionals coming out. She's such a unicorn, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, she's so great. But she would bring problem solving ideas or, hey, let's do this. And maybe my reaction at the time was no. And then the next day would be yes. And I think working with her was such an eye opener because I realized maybe I don't need to make decisions so quickly. And then I also just would say probably mentorship in general. I think even now, if people are interested, I do like mentoring. But if you're not going to sit in my office and work hard and like really try to understand, time is money. And I do not like, if you show an interest or some sort of work, I'll open up everything to you and give you all sorts of opportunities. But if you're not willing to do that, get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just want someone who's in it and wants to grow with you. If they're not, I played baseball my whole life. I played high school, played college ball, and I played a couple years of semi-pro ball as well. And I can tell you that over that time frame, there was a lot of youth kids that I would do private lessons for and everything else. And nothing would frustrate me more when you would have these rich parents and they would book these appointments with me, right?
Does your mom want you to be here? Or do you want to be here?
And you could just tell they didn't want to be there. They could care less, right? Just everything I'm showing them, right? Like how to stand, how to throw, how to break away from the whole process. And I'm like, dude, we've just went over this like 9 times. Like what are you not getting? You know what I mean? Or you can just tell in their body language, they're just not in it. And honestly, those are hard conversations that you have to have with their parents at that time. Like, hey, I'd love to take your money, but I really I'm not helping little Johnny out or whatever in this situation. Totally. And I can tell you that, I do quite a bit of mentorship with a lot of entrepreneurs and sometimes I notice that they're really gung-ho on the front end. Not all of them, and then sometimes they die off, right? Or they almost get this know-it-all attitude, like they already know. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
they're
just not receptive into taking more advice.
Yeah.
And you just go, okay, I'm seeing your body language is changing. This is no longer a fruitful relationship for me at this point. Yeah. And so the one thing I would say when it comes to mentorship, find you someone who's competent, find you someone that you work well with, and be serious about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Don't waste that person's time because they really want to help you more than just about the money. They really want to see you grow. Yeah. And every person I work with, I want to see them grow. Like I take a vested interest. And I'll even go above and beyond and spend more time and not even bill them for the additional time because I really invested in them.
Well, because it's not about the money. If it's something you really love and you're like, oh my gosh, someone actually wants to hear my opinion or how to handle a situation.
You see they implement it and they
hold on,
let
me drop everything I'm doing to help you walk through this. Yeah. Yeah, so if people don't want that, it's like, get out of here.
Exactly. Let's touch on something for a second. So throughout your journey, you have been the most impactful throughout your journey, who have been the most impactful advisors, mentors, or professional allies you've worked with? They can be accountants, lawyers, marketers, spiritual mentors, and how have they shaped your
Yeah.
decisions?
It's all of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. So again, I think whenever I started Paige PR, I really did go rogue, but now my closest friends all have women-owned businesses. So, it's great after a day to drink wine with a friend and a neighbor who's walking through their own, whether it's like workplace challenges, client challenges, women-owned business challenges, whatever it is. It's really great to have that group. But again, like it's kind of everybody. Like, I don't know anything on the tax or the money side, right? Like, I know how to do my work. So you guys and Jenny have been so great with that. But I have absolutely been in lawsuits or gone through stuff. And, if someone doesn't pay you for a website, you can take their website down.
Sure.
If someone gets in the Wall Street Journal or the Chronicle and doesn't pay you, it's out there.
It's out there. That's right.
And people see it and they have that credibility. So, I've had a lot of attorney advice, but legal situations that I never thought I would be in, that I get into, that has really shaped a lot of my work stuff. I think also competitors and other agencies, big or small, they have really helped like shape some of my perspectives. I will say men are much better for me. And I would say like my observations in the workplace, I would say men are better managers and men are better mentors.
Okay.
So I've talked to some of like the agency owners, but that are men, but that are in my space. We talk about this a lot, and they'll tell me other women say it, and it's, I don't know if it's a generational thing. I noticed this when I was like early to mid 2000s. Sometimes women, like, you can do really well and women are like, that's great, scoop back. You can do great, just not as great as me. And so that's why I say, I don't know if it's like a generational thing where when I was in my 20s and I was working for women in their 50s or so, it took so much for them to get into a really big position at a big company, if that's how they felt about it. But I've always felt like men were more relaxed and more open to giving feedback. Okay. So
interesting.
I know. Okay. There's like this interesting unspoken dynamic. I hope that it's shifting. I mean, I don't interact with a ton of women today. Like some of them might be the point person, but it's still a pretty male dominated industry with who I'm working with. So
Gotcha.
I know.
No, that's really,
I know you weren't ready for that one.
I was not ready for that, but I will say one thing, Paige. Most people that I work with that are my mentors, right? If I look at it now, and they're all men, to be honest with you, whether it be old partners that I worked for their CPA firms before I started my business and tax advisory firm. I mean, I had lunch with one of my old partners a couple months ago, and the irony was, so he was a minority partner at the firm that I worked for, probably the greatest firm I ever worked for. And a lot of the practices that we do here at our firm was predicated off of how that firm was done. Yeah. Great guy. But the managing partner, him and I were really good friends. They ended up selling their firm to a national firm.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And then the individual I'm referring to, the minority partner, it was an 80-20 split. And so he ended up starting his firm and merged with two other people here in the Woodlands. Okay. Nice. Okay. Great guy. The irony is, and I'm just going to sound a little braggadocious, is we're larger than him. Yeah. And I don't mean it as a jab, right? But for me, because I looked up to him so much, and I still do to this day.
He likes watching your growth.
Right? No, absolutely. And he's a baseball guy like me as well. His dad was a professional baseball player for the Pittsburgh Pirates back in the day. Cool. And so it's just so cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when we had lunch the other day, I told him, I said, I just want you to know that a lot of my successes is what you and Rob did was predicated off the role and the mentorship that y'all did for me. Yeah. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I bet they love that.
And so yeah, for me, it's always been men as well. And I never really thought about it in that capacity, but I guess,
Yeah.
And he's just a great guy, and still, I still bounce ideas off of him to this day.
So I took a women-owned business coaching or mentorship class.
Mm-hmm.
It was fascinating. So kind of with my personality, I took some of the info, some of it I was like, oh, whatever. But it is fascinating with how women think and react in a room, even if they're a decision maker. But if they're in a room with all male counterparts, how they behave and how they act and how their body language is. As women, if we say something, the sky is blue. No, it's not blue. It's raining. If you said that, as women, we will go think about, we sounded stupid or we overthought something. We said the wrong thing for hours, right? Men don't think about any of no, nothing.
I think we compartmentalize a little bit better in those situations.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So it was certainly business coaching. There was some mentorship to it, but that was really fascinating. Just again, kind of going back to the imposter syndrome stuff where it's like, oh, are we qualified? Are we in the room? No, you're in the room. You're qualified. That's all you need to think about it.
For sure.
Move on. So, I don't know. Different dynamics just impact how we all work together.
I want to ask you this question, and I know you responded to it already. But okay, so many entrepreneurs, they struggle with isolation, and
Yes.
I guess where I was going with this question is, let me just ask the question first, and then I'll tell you kind of where my thought process was. How did you intentionally build the right network around you to avoid that trap? And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they're on an island by themselves. In the sense of, especially when they start out, right? Because they don't have the right network around them.
Yeah.
And they run to all their friends and their, whether it be their spouse, their friends, their mom, their dad, whoever, uncle, aunt, asking advice, but none of them really have entrepreneurship mindset, can really provide insightful information to really help them because they just never walked that journey before. So a lot of times they feel like they're on an island by themselves. I know I did early on.
Yeah.
How do you build the right network to avoid that trap? Because on that island can be very lonely because you go out and you talk to people and I think when you're going to be successful in entrepreneurship, like you have to think differently. You dance the different beat of a drummer boy too.
Yeah.
And I also think you have to be way more disciplined because you don't have I've got to show up from 9 to 5. You don't have, I mean, there's times I work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Or I'll wake up and I'll have an idea in my head.
Yes.
And I'll just go, I get up. My wife's like, what are you getting up for? I said, I've got to write this stuff down.
Yeah.
And
Do
she's
you have
like,
a notepad by your bed?
Yeah, I do. And she's like, well, I'll typically grab it and go in the other room or whatever, go in my office. And cause I don't want to wake her with the light on. And she's just like, wait, this is crazy. And I go, no, I just woke up and I had this great idea on something that I want to do, whether it be marketing in my company or how I want to do this. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to fall back asleep and forget it.
Yeah.
And part of it is the ADD that I have,
Yes. Yes.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have that.
Yes.
And so I'll get up and I'll write it down, or I'll go, and sometimes I just can't shut my brain off and I'll start typing things up on the computer. You see what I'm saying? And I'll go in there for an hour, 2 hours. And then you crash, how do you build the right network? I guess is my question. So you're not going at things alone because it's a very lonely road.
I don't think I built a network at all. I think that they came to me or they found me organically. So just my friends or my colleagues over time that ultimately went out on their own. Right. And so it's like band of brothers, like we found each other and we're going to stick through each other and encourage.
You think you just maybe like attracted that because of where you started shifting your interest into and your time, and it just kind of naturally gravitated because I know for me, I quit hanging out with people that weren't conducive to the lifestyle and the decisions I wanted to make in business. And it might sound very narcissistic. I get it, but it was more of, I love to talk shop. I love to talk business with people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like I can talk hours with that stuff. And I started finding people that I could talk business with, and whether it be about their business, my business, we would just, it was just honest talk and good feedback. And and almost like a brotherhood that I have with a lot of my clients and people that they can text me, call me about whatever, and hey, let's hop on a call. Let's just talk about it. Tell me what's going on. What are you dealing with at your organization? And it was
but
just
it's sports too.
Sports too for me. Yeah.
So, when we talk about don't spend time on it, if you made a bad play in baseball, if I missed a 2-foot putt,
Yep. Yeah.
you better get over it.
Yes.
Especially in golf, you're going to ruin your tee off or,
That's
whatever
right.
it is.
300%.
I don't know that I had the island of mentors originally, right? When I was younger, I had friends that had kids that decided to stay at home. Maybe they did some freelance work, or I was talking to my competitors or people I knew through the space that were already at established agencies or whatnot. My group of mentors now, or like my group of friends, after they had kids, maybe they were all working and like some of them built their businesses. So the mentorship or the people available to me to call and kind of pick their brains just kind of happened organically. I feel like I actually have a lot more mentors with similar situations now than I did 10 years ago. But it's interesting now. So my son plays baseball. My daughter we are way into club volleyball. And it's just, again, like kind of going back to golf. And then you've got to grit it out with when you own your own business, good or bad, it's a grind. And, going back to like my kids' ages and like now I'm at this kind of mentorship stage with them, like there's no time to harp on little issues or like there's so much where we talk about where we give our energy to things. And even like my kids' friendships, this is garbage. Stop wasting time on it, because this is how I think our minds are broken up when you're an entrepreneur. Like I don't have the time and energy to give space to this today. Today I have to focus on
That's right.
the most, whatever today's priority is. Like it kind of all just runs hand in hand. I was going to add something to that, but I forgot what it was.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pivot to another question. How's that sound?
Yeah, sure.
If you were to advise an aspiring entrepreneur today, what key professionals do you believe are critical to have in your corner from day one?
Yes, I'm reading this answer. An attorney, tax advisor. Those are what I needed from day one. So day one for me, I didn't have either of those things. And it really didn't matter the first year because I didn't really make any money. The second year when things exploded, I still didn't have those things. And there was a person I sued. They owed me money. They didn't pay. And I'm just never okay with that scenario. I don't care if it's $100. Not okay.
I get it.
And so I think like I had those moments where I was like, I need an attorney. And then as I kept growing, I'm like, I don't just need an attorney. I need an attorney that's looking at these employee contracts that I'm handing out. I need an attorney that's really pouring over when I'm having to do confidentiality agreements or entering contracts with some of these really big
Being more
companies.
proactive.
My
Exactly.
gosh,
Yep.
because it can be very intimidating with their requirements. And then on the tax side and just running finances for a business, when it's just me and the business is small and it's not a lot of work, I can go use like a Microsoft Word template for an invoice. But when things start getting a lot bigger, it's like, whoa, I'm so out of my depth here. And again, I think I learned like after I step in it, it's like, oh, hindsight, I need an advisor on this. So those two certainly come to mind. And then I think a mentor in your space, they don't even have to be necessarily in your industry, but just someone to go pick their brain with. So a dear friend of mine is a female entrepreneur and she lives across the street, but diagonally.
Okay.
We're around the same age. We actually, ironically, have a lot of the same clients. So we can go pick each other's brains all day long.
Love it.
Directly across the street from me is a woman, and she just retired from her career, but she and her husband own restaurant franchises.
Okay.
So now she's kind of focused in this entrepreneurial role. We were walking our dogs the other day, and she's really struggling with it. And she said, she's like, I've always worked for someone, now I'm the main point person. I've got to get caught up on our restaurants. And she was like, I'm struggling working from home, like working by myself in a siloed situation. And I'm like, well, I'm your coworker. Just come over here if you need me, or ask me questions while we're walking. Because, maybe I've walked through some of it, or I'm certainly someone you can bounce ideas off of.
Absolutely.
So
love it. Love it. Love it. We often see success, but not the struggles behind the scenes. Can you share a dark or challenging time in your life?
Yeah.
Whether before Paige PR existed or during, that tested your faith and or your identity?
So we talked about how great things were in the teens, lack of a better word. Okay. So I didn't tell you this part of my life. In 2020, we built a house.
Okay.
On its face, it sounds like a great idea.
It's a lot of work.
Well, then there was COVID, and then there was the February freeze, and I had shut my office down.
Okay. Yep.
So I thought I was losing my mind at the time. We survived. Everyone's good. That was really difficult. Okay. So what should have taken us a year took us nearly 2 years because window factories shut down. February freeze, you couldn't get a plumber or whatever. So
makes sense.
My personal life was just like blown up. So we finally moved, just working from home because I got rid of the office. And also no one cares like they used to care about an office, right? Everyone's kind of half in, half out. So I think I'm like, yes, like now I can finally get back to it. I'm ready to get back to all my work. And I think let's just say 2023 was the start. Holy smokes. 2023 was like drinking from a fire hose. Work was like roaring back. I guess maybe we were mostly returning to normal at that point. It was a massive year. It was great. No complaints about 2023. And then here comes 2024. It looks like it's like all things in Q4 2023 looked great. And the start of 2024 looked great. And then it's like everything just drove off a cliff and completely dropped off. And that's when I was like, what the hell is going on? And at that point, it's been like 4 or 5 years of volatility. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to dig in here and keep doing this.
Sure.
And then stupid 2025 comes along and all the phone calls roll in. And I'm like, no, I'm where I should be.
It's going to bounce back.
And then 2 months later, it slows. Yeah. And so that's how I really felt like when I was praying, like over this summer, because of course I'm like, should I go do something else? And at this point, do I want to keep doing this or do I want to switch? Maybe I want to do something really fun. I don't know. I don't know what that would be. But then in my world, what's creative is writing like technical papers about industrial equipment. It's riveting. I know. Like I'll start like really digging in on a paper like this, or what's going on with, the 25, 26 dredging forecast. And I'm like, I really love this. Like, I don't want to give this up. So I'm just going to have to like keep my head down and keep grinding. And to your point, it's going to come back. And then lo and behold, here comes August. But you have to be able to like
get to weather the storm.
Weather the storm. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So
love it. Love it.
Yeah.
When you were in that valley, what pulled you through? Was it a person? Was it maybe scripture, internal grit, or something else?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I would say, so I think we talked about it earlier when I said, like, I kind of listen and hear from everyone. We go to First Baptist in town. And so I listen to a lot of the podcast in my car. And sometimes there's just such great scripture that obviously applies to just showing up and working hard when no one sees it, when you don't want to do it, all these great life lessons. So I think all of those things, I'm probably just like I heard that voice in 2012 or 2011 when it was like, you can do that, here recently, like over the summer. It's very difficult to be slow when like I'm a person that likes to have a lot on my plate. So when things are abnormally slow, it makes me feel like I'm going crazy. Like I like to do a lot of things. And so I think like when I would pray over it, I would just keep hearing like, just stay the course. It's fine. Just stay the course. Be cool about it. And today I feel a lot better. But when I would talk to my mentors, it's like, I don't know if I'm losing my mind and I'm just completely delirious on what's going on around me. And someone needs to slap me in the face and tell me to go do something else. Or if I am doing the right thing for me. So in this case, I think I did the right thing for me. But
I think so. Yeah. You have to trust the process. And keep your faith and like I say, keep your head down, just keep working hard and just understand that when that time is right, I think God will open things up.
Yeah.
And we can't question when that's going to be, but as long as we're doing the things we're supposed to be doing and we stay ready, it's going to come. It always does.
Yeah.
It always does. Let me ask you this. How have tough seasons shaped the way you lead your team today?
I do not focus on the things that are not worth my time at all. Call those like energy vampires. Don't waste time on it. And I think we're just really fine-tuned. So even if it's a tough time, if it doesn't necessarily fit our scope, we're willing to walk away from it. And it's just going to be tougher a little bit longer, right?
No, makes sense.
I would also say, and I don't know if you've ever felt like this, I meant to say earlier, when things are quieter, it actually allows me to be more creative.
Absolutely.
And gives me fresh ideas for articles I want to write for Paige PR or things I want to focus on. Like I want to write a book. And it's like now I have the creative energy to do those things. So as much as I say I'm coming undone whenever I'm slow, it's actually, those quiet times are actually a very good thing for me.
Yes.
And they're very productive. And as far as writing notes in the middle of the night, that I do that all the time. And I also think it's a very good thing. Yep. And it can be like your most productive because you've got all that creative energy going.
You do.
And you're like, I don't want to lose it right now because you'll come to work and it'll fall. It's not a priority in that moment. It'll fall right off.
Yeah. I love what you said there, where you've got to kind of have that quiet time and that creates that kind of spark, if you will, that creativity. For me, and I think it frustrates my wife a little bit, but for me, it's when we go on vacation.
Yeah.
And I'm able to disconnect from the office.
Decompress.
And so like a lot of times we'll go, just about every year we go to Grayton Beach area.
Okay.
And we always get rent a little Airbnb or whatever. And, you know, for me, I have a great time, but the beach is the beach at the end of the day. So if I go in the morning, I don't need to go in the evening. In the same day.
Oh, I could. Okay.
My wife loves.
I can stay there the whole time.
We're still there.
Bring me a beer and some guacamole, and I'm great. Just leave me here.
Yeah. Well, she'll get the kids up, and so she'll go out, and then comes the evening time, and she'll say, "Hey, you want to go? We're going to go back out there because we'll come back to the house during the summer or during the lunchtime when it's too hot out there."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, it's starting to cool off a little bit. We're going to go back out there." And I was like, "I was already out there this morning."
Yeah, it's just
I've got nine more days. She goes, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I said, there's some ideas and things I've been thinking about. Like I'm going to, put pen to paper or, my laptop, and I'm going to, my creative mindset on things that we need to be doing in the business and grow. Like
it's because
everybody's
finally have headspace to think about it.
And everybody's out of the house, out of the Airbnb, and it's just me. And she'll come back and she's like, and I'll have like, 4 pages of copious notes of things that I've just...
You need to go on more vacations.
Yeah.
That's what this means.
Yeah. And that's when... And then I'll come back into the office like 2 weeks later. Or I'll even, while I'm on vacation, I'm emailing my employees. I'm like, hey, we need to do this. When I come back, when we do this. And they're like, oh my God, Jake's on vacation, but he's still working. What is wrong with this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're groaning. They're like, oh gosh. There he goes again.
That's where that creativity comes for me, is when everything else, and I have all the stress removed off of me. And that's where the creative mind comes into play. And I love that time, honestly. Like it's almost like a high in a weird way, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you just, it gets your juices flowing.
Yeah. And you have time to think like, where are we taking this, or what direction do I want to go? Or even like, what kind of calls am I getting lately? Or like, what are people asking me a lot? Like, you're not thinking about that in the day to day. Day to day, it's like, what do I have to get done? What problem crept up? That sort of thing.
Absolutely. So as a working mom who's managed calls from ballparks, we talked about vacations. How has motherhood shaped your boundaries, your priorities, and your leadership style?
So this is interesting. When when I had kids, I was on my own and I would get work calls. I would be so stressed or worried about taking the call with little kids running in the background. No one ever cared. The men I talked to never cared. They'd always like, oh, call me later. That is something that's always stuck with me. Like when I thought about like, well, should I go back to corporate? When should I? That's always been a thing for me is I would actually really love to go back in-house. I don't know when, but like I really did love, I think because I traveled and did all this cool stuff. But anyways, so like this last year when I kind of thought about that, it's a really awesome idea. And maybe I will do that when the kids go to college, but it's not right now. So my life is really busy and it's really fulfilling. And I actually enjoy watching baseball in Dallas Wednesday at 11. It just means I can't do anything else the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And with my daughter getting older, oh my gosh, we're traveling so much with volleyball. Literally, I'm doing networking on the side of the volleyball court or at the baseball game. But it's going to go so fast that it's like, that's fine. This is where my energy is going to be allocated to.
Sure. Yeah.
No one cares that I'm taking calls at the ball field.
They don't.
But nobody cares. They've either been in this stage of life or they have kids. Everybody gets it. I do take my laptop everywhere I go, even though I'm not working on it during the games. So, you know, I think my expectation was when we got to high school, when they got older, I would be doing more work because they're gone longer. And that is some stupid lie. And everyone needs to be aware. These children get busier.
They do.
They are so busy.
They do.
That I'm like, I don't know what time. I got up at 4:30 this morning. Like it's almost bedtime. Like there's no time to do anything anymore. And I'm like, I'm just going to grin and bear it. And if that means, you know, I'm pickier on work or there's not insane growth for the next couple of years, that's fine.
That's okay.
It will be there or it will come back. And in the meantime, so like I get asked to go to these award dinners or networking things. Totally. But actually I've got to go watch a lousy football scrimmage or, you know, like that's what I'm doing tonight. I don't have time for that. But it's going to be over so soon.
Yeah, it is.
That it's fine.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So, and I do also like work all the time to make up for
sure.
not being that's just the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it is. It is. What lessons do you hope your children learn from watching your journey as a woman of faith as well as an entrepreneur?
Obviously work hard. Both my kids get places on time or early because my husband and I both get places earlier on time. So like we're always where we need to be when we need to be there. And I think probably just follow through and stay the course. The soft skills, shaking hands, looking people in the eye,
That's right.
Those are just non-negotiables. I think I talked about the lawn mowing earlier. I think it's really good, and the babysitting, like for both of them to have jobs. I actually don't care if they make money or do stuff, but like
just understand the process and everything that was involved.
Understand the process, and then when I take them to go blow their money, let's understand the value and what I don't care if you blow your money, it's your money.
Right. But
let's kind of talk through it. I just kind of want them to have those like subtle nudges on some things. Obviously, I hope they see me as a faithful mom, woman, person in general. I also run a little hot under the collar and am like ultra competitive. So they both get that from me. My daughter especially. So maybe they won't take that trait as sharply because...
You know, one of the things I think that's being lost by a lot of these new generations that are coming up, and part of it is the parents' fault, but part of it is society's fault. And I don't really know. It's a double-edged sword. It's very tough to navigate in the sense of I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm 47. Okay, and so
same or like same generation or whatever.
So when I was in high school, I remember we didn't get the internet. We had Prodigy, which came in my senior year. It was before AOL. I grew up. I went to high school in Dickinson. I don't know if you know where that is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger now, but when I went there,
Prodigy.
it was.
No, I don't know that one.
Prodigy was before AOL at the time. It was a dial-up service though. Okay. And so, I mean, we were down 85% of the time, and there was no watching videos. There was none of this, right? And so, you know, I just remember growing up that my father was the hardest working man that I'd ever seen. Like just a straight blue collar guy. Worked for BP for 35, 36 years until he retired. It was Amoco before that, and then it got bought out by BP. And you know, I never saw even any of my friends, their fathers work as hard as my father. So he instilled that work ethic in me. And the thing that I think that's challenging today with these kids is the internet and everything is at people's fingertips, right? And especially now with AI, like you don't even have to Google search now. You can throw it in Grok or you can throw in ChatGPT. And you have an answer like that, right? So it's created this natural laziness, right, bias, and this instant gratification that they're going to have everything at their footsteps. And let me tell you something. Some of the most successful people in this world aren't the most talented people. It's the people that have tremendous work ethic that will just outwork every other person. And that's why so many people that aren't even born in this country come to this country and they become uber successful because they outwork, I hate to say it, but the fat, lazy Americans that we have here, right? And when I say fat, I'm not talking about fat as in our body size. I'm talking about fat as in just full and not having to do complacency and things like that. And that's one of the things that, you know, I try to instill in our kids is they'll run to me and say, Dad, like, you know, what do you think about this? Or I can't figure this out. I said, go look it up. How long have you looked it up for? I said, I'm not Google. I'm not, you know, you have a $3,000 computer up there. Get on that damn computer and figure it out. I'm not your answer all the time. You know, because we as parents, right, we have to teach them to have critical thinking and to work hard on things. And I think, and I applaud you guys, you and Drew, to make the kids work and value
Drew's
money.
Way tougher than I am on those kids.
I'm the tough one in my family too. So,
I told you he builds homes in River Oak. So pretty pricey stuff. And he made my son, and I think one of his friends last summer, like go move bricks or like stone all day. These two boys just like took them from one pile and moved them to another. And I think they got paid like $10 an hour. And they were like, this is awful. Manual labor is terrible. But to your point, it's like there's 30 or 40 guys on this crew doing that all day long for what they do. So you should have a massive appreciation for you know, what stuff costs, just hard work in general. They were covered in dirt and sweat and grime when they came in. Like, what the hell? Who made me do that today?
So you've expressed curiosity about Houston's energy transformation, talking about solar energy and stuff like that, right? Alternative energy.
Yes.
How does Paige PR positions its clients or for success amid these evolving industry narratives?
It's interesting, probably like after the big, beautiful bill passed, the industries that we serve are always evolving and they evolve on an individual basis, meaning like the direction that the industry is going. And then they also evolve based on the regulatory environment. So like every few years, the focus in my world changes. So in 2012, I said, oil and gas, right? Upstream, drill, baby, drill, that sort of thing. And then like, I don't know, the dynamic shifted. So 2018, 2019, it was all energy tech and energy tech startups. So you had a bunch of people coming to Texas from California and Canada, trying to merge these two industries. I think around the same time, more or less, you know, give it a couple of years, but ESG, solar, renewables, when all of these are hot topics, right? And where are we today? We're getting rid of all of it and we're going back to just traditional oil and gas. So here's the new space that I didn't even mention is the AI data centers, crypto mining, which is happening on oil and gas fracking locations, microgrids. we need energy for all of these things. And so there's a story and a place to talk about all of these things today, but it just constantly evolves. And so it's obviously areas that we've worked in, but there are also areas to stay on top of, because when a new administration comes in, and if there's a push and a pull, we've got to kind of advise and tell people where to, if you're going to invest PR dollars, what are people buying?
Sure.
Well, they're not buying wind and solar today. And if anything, actually, the wind farms got brought up. Remember Trump with the whale thing?
Yeah.
Well, the wind turbines, you can't do anything with them. You have to burn them. And so to burn them is actually like the most toxic thing you can do, besides like concrete plants and asphalt.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of good from the renewables, and we need all of these energy sources, but there's also a lot of like liability that we just straight up don't talk about. And so, as we talk about all these spaces, it's just advising clients, like, where do we talk? What do we want to say? If the regulations change,
Sure.
How does that shift our strategy? That sort of thing.
Got it. When you reflect on where you want Paige PR to be in the next 10 years, what's your boldest vision or biggest question you're still working out?
What do I want to be when I grow up?
Yeah, what do you want to be when you grow
I don't
up?
know.
Are we ever going to grow up then?
Yeah, maybe? I know. I mean, I love what I do. It's so great for right now. Do I want to go back corporate to like a big, oil and gas type company? Do I want to do something totally different? I mentioned I want to write some books. So I don't know. Maybe I'll be an author. I don't know. 10 years is a long way away.
There's nothing wrong with that, though. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. There's so many different things. I think it's the way that most entrepreneurs' mind works, right?
Yeah, we're never done, or like we're never sitting still.
Never satisfied either.
Yeah.
I mean, we appreciate, but we're just not as satisfied.
Yeah. I don't know if my husband would ever agree on this. I could like build another house. I don't know if he could do it with me. So I work with words. I can't visualize. I'm not creative. So I thought it was a really great experience. We have this beautiful house, but it was like a painstaking process probably trying to deal with me. But it's so different and creative from what I do daily that I'm like, I could do that again. So
interesting.
Maybe that'll be something we do. Not.
If everything was stripped away from you, your business, your accolades, your network, who is Paige Donnell at her core?
God-serving, a mother, funny.
I can see that.
And a youth sports expert. That's probably it.
Love it. Okay. So how does your faith guide your leadership decisions at Paige PR?
I think that's just going back to being prayerful. So I can make quick decisions, but like for the longer term or bolder decisions, just praying over a lot, thinking about it, talking through it a lot, and allowing space for that, and not just some things I can be a quick decision maker on, but others, like giving it the time and attention it deserves.
Makes sense. Do you incorporate prayer or spiritual practices in your daily business life? And if so, what does that look like?
Yes. I mean, no, in the sense of not on a larger thread, but I certainly try and operate the entire business based on biblical principles and honest, hardworking, treating people, the way they should, and operating with integrity for sure. I think I've always tried to do that. I stand on that. I'm very comfortable with that. There's been business issues with other folks. I don't even think that's weird to say. I'm sure everybody kind of has like run-ins with competitors or people stepping on your turf. People think you did them wrong, stuff like that. But I think, and I've even told myself this, like, as long as I'm at peace and like, as long as I acted the way I wanted to and with integrity and transparency and those things, then I'm fine. Like if I can sleep in peace at night, not everyone's always going to agree with me or like me or that. And I don't waste time on those things. Like if I feel good about it, I'm good with it.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's all said and done, what do you hope God says to you about how you lived your life and used your platform?
I hope he forgives me for some of the cussing because that's one of mine. But I hope he just says, "Good job, girl. You did it." You know?
Yeah.
So, the scripture, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of, I think when all this started, that was kind of like the scripture I had in my mind. And I still think about it a lot, obviously, is like plans to prosper, not to harm. And through all this, like look where we are today. So
absolutely,
I feel like it's still very relevant and holds true to Paige PR.
I would agree. Let me ask you this. What do you wish someone told you at the start of your career or your start of your entrepreneurial journey, I would say, especially around pitching or scaling or even hiring? What do you wish someone would have told you then that you know now?
I'm looking at this too. Well, I do think the support system and having like the right people around you is really important. I also think growth is great, but I think any sort of growth, like in hindsight, I think any sort of growth is really great. Like the 408 number or whatever it is, it's a really great number. But 100 or 200% is really impressive as well. And so, you know, I think just reminding yourself, like any sort of progress, anything you've learned is really, really great. Because kind of going back to that group around me, my stuff went gangbusters. And I was just holding on, and it was awesome, and it's settled, and that's really great. And then I've seen friends that started businesses that have struggled for years. And it really took them to get to this place of growth, or I don't want to say success, but you know, maybe as like we define success with all the accolades and stuff, like they're finally seeing the fruits of all that labor. The way we approach those two things were night and day different. One is no better than the other. And so I think just maybe appreciating those moments where, you know, you don't have to grow 400% in a year to still be really successful.
You know, you hit on it earlier about when we were talking about the mentorship, right? And you have your neighbors and, you know, you guys bounce off ideas off each other and everything. I think where people a lot of times get things wrong is they focus just on their specific industry.
Yeah.
And they go, well, I'm going to mimic myself after, let's say they're an accounting firm, right? They're going to mimic after this accounting firm or that accounting firm. And certainly there are things that we implement here based on some of the public firms that I've worked for in the past. But I would say a large element of our growth, for me, all the research and the mentorships that I do, or mentors that I have, I should say, is I try to think outside the box and I try to implement different strategies that other service-based businesses do that aren't aligned with my industry whatsoever, right? How you break through those barriers. And I think that's an area where just having mentors that look at things from a different light per se, you see what I'm saying, or a different lens. That allows you to break those barriers down that you would have never thought of, because like if you're an accountant, you're just thinking like an accountant. And I don't want to think as an accountant. I want to think as an individual who is a value added leader that adds value to the clients, as a problem solver. Even if it's something out of your wheelhouse, you can still put that client with someone who can handle that for them. And just looking at things from a different light and having different mentors in different industries that will give you a different perception, I think is very, very critical. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I also think sometimes the most fun clients or the most to learn from are the smaller ones. They are quicker to respond, more dynamic. They have more freedom to kind of, you know, in my world, maybe they're taking ideas or suggestions, or maybe they've come up with something that works really well for them and they run with it. Whereas like in my space, if I'm working with a really large company, it's much slower to move. There's a lot of rules and regulations on what you can and can't do. And so just kind of not blowing people off, or like if someone brings you an idea and you're kind of going, that would never work for me, or it has to be done this way. You know, listening to kind of what works for other people, whether or not it's in your space, it shows you what other companies are doing, and just whether or not you implement that exact idea.
Absolutely.
Is one thing, but to hear kind of what people are doing or what's working for them is just like an interesting nugget that you'll probably file away and think about when you're on vacation. And you're like, hey, I actually really like that idea. Yeah. I'm going to do that.
Love it. Love it. Okay, we're going to do a quick little rapid fire session before we end this podcast today. You ready for this?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
All right. So best book you've ever read?
The End of the World is Just the Beginning. Have you read this?
I have not.
It's awesome.
Okay.
Got to read that one too. It's a lot of shifting demographics with the world, but particularly the U.S. And there's a lot of focus on Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas.
Okay.
Houston, and like where the manufacturing is going. It's kind of dense. There's a lot of demographics, but also with, right, like we were kind of like the one world thing, and now we're more in an isolationist mindset. It's super fascinating, and it has a lot to do with kind of my business as well. So that one was really cool. The Nightingale is amazing. It's like historical fiction for World War II. All the Light We Cannot See. Same. That one was also on Netflix. Okay. I read at least like 1 or 2 books a week.
Oh, wow.
And I read everything. I can read business books, you know, all of it, all over. I love to read. And I like a hardback. Like I want a book. I don't want a paperback. I don't want my Kindle. I want a book.
There's nothing wrong with that. Right?
Yes. Okay. Well, it's
great.
Go
No.
Sorry, I glanced at that.
No, you're good. Good. So the next question I was going to ask you was what's your favorite coffee? You said you're not a coffee drinker. So I'm going to ask you, what's your favorite drink just as a whole? How about that?
Wine or a Diet Coke.
Wine or a Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Red or white?
Either. It depends on,
Okay.
like it's probably red, but it depends on the time of year. I don't want to drink a lot of red wine in August when it's hot. And if I've like drank too much red, then I'll switch it up and go to white because I'm like, I got to take a break from all the red.
Gotcha.
So other than that, I just drink water, which is lame. No iced tea. I don't even drink iced tea. It's weird.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Favorite scripture or faith quote?
Jeremiah 29:11.
Love it. That's
kind of sums it up.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. One word to describe your leadership style.
Yeah. Okay. Direct is the word. I glanced at my answer, but
that's okay.
I think that's perfect. I think I was going to say like fast paced or yeah, direct.
Okay.
That is the word.
Biggest pet peeve in PR.
Can I look at what I wrote?
Sure.
Yeah. People don't know what PR actually is. So I've actually been invited to speak and like give my pitch in front of an executive team. And the person that introduced me said, this is Paige and she does PR. And like, didn't know what else to say about why I was in the room. That was like the sales pitch. And I genuinely was like, what? So like we talk a lot about elevator pitches and messaging and what I do. And it's funny because I work on everyone else's and didn't spend that much time on mine. I just assumed everyone knew what PR was or what it is. And I learned pretty quickly, it doesn't matter how big the company is. There are people that just really don't know. And so it's mind blowing. And people confuse PR with marketing, which I can understand, especially with social media. There's a lot of gray, but like, I'm not monitoring a sales cycle. I'm not following your leads. That's not what you're hiring me to do. We are trying to shift perceptions, tell a story, build your reputation. If your reputation was ruined, how do we get it back? You know, that sort of thing. So, but it's crazy when you're dealing with CMOs of companies and like people just genuinely don't know. Yeah. And that can make it really hard to make a sale because they don't see the value. And then I go into companies and they know exactly what we do and they're very specific on and what
Yeah.
they want. Like, it's kind of odd.
I can imagine. I mean, there's that if they don't understand, it's an education piece that you have to deliver, and you have to deliver it in a manner that they're going to understand it, and you can't drag it out. You got to be very quick, direct, and get them caught up to speed as quickly as possible before you can even deliver the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paige, I want to thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for watching. This is another Entrepreneurial Blueprint podcast. This is Paige Donnell for Paige PR. If you need some help with some PR work, highly recommend her. She's right here in the Houston area. Once again, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.